Niall Horan, pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
First interview after the first sold-out show ahead of the first fully sold-out debut solo tour.
Yep.
That's a wow for me and for you.
That was a tongue twister.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but when I heard I was the first to come for an interview, I was like, oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It was just...
How are you feeling after that show last night?
Incredible, like, it was just... There was... going into the show, I was a bit nervous about it. You know, it's the first show of a tour is scary anyway. Your home show, especially Dublin, is always really scary. So that combined was very scary. And I was really nervous about it. And then realised, watching the opening act, Wild Youth, that the crowd were mad up for it. And it all started to, come together in my head, why we would start the tour here. And I got out there, and it was pretty apparent pretty quick that this was a great idea. And I'm very happy we did the show in Dublin first as the starter.
Yeah, I think you alluded to that on stage.
Yeah.
You were a bit, you were like, who thought this was a good idea?
Yeah.
And then a few songs in, you were like, this was a great idea.
Yeah, it's a nerve-wracking thing, as I said. But yeah, I'm definitely happy we did it in Dublin. To kick off the tour and let Irish fans hear my album before anyone else is now and all these thoughts coming together, this thought process it's a nice thing.
And you must have worried somewhat in that all of the songs, the majority of the songs would be unfamiliar, but that wasn't an issue on the night whatsoever.
Yeah, it felt, what was really nice about it, which was different for me, was that, people were very kind of respectful to the music and just sat there and listened. I don't know how much that will change over the course of, the tour and the more they get to know the words and stuff like that. But it was nice to play a gig where it was relatively quiet and just kind of listening to the words and stuff like that. Obviously, when Slow Hands and stuff came on, it was very loud. But I've been used to like hearing 2 hours of roaring and screaming. So it was a nice change to hear that. But yeah, it was good.
Well, I think the key to it was the songs were good, band were good, delivery was good. You were good.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
We really enjoyed it too. It took me a couple of songs to settle in. I was vocally overthinking everything and thinking about each chord and thinking about each phrase and how I was going to sing it, and for the first couple of songs. And then it was just like, once I sung this down, I started relaxing in a little bit. But yeah, it was obviously going to be nerve-wracking, but happened now.
We had met you just previous to the gig, and you spoke about how you'd been holed up in rehearsals for quite a period of time. So I guess it's all sort of playing in your mind and you're visualising.
Literally.
And then here you are in it.
Yeah.
So it probably does take a little bit of time to warm into it. But there's a couple of things you said on stage. One, that the last time you'd been in the Olympia was 7 years previous to REM.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that when I was backstage. I see the big poster outside the dressing room. I was like, I was at that gig. It was mad.
And I mean, if someone had told you then all of what would happen in the subsequent 7 years, I think you would have told them to... What have you been smoking?
I know, honestly, it's been mad, like, really, what's happened since. That was probably the last gig I went to before I went to the X Factor, I'd say. So it's weird that it's got kind of wound up back at the Olympia, but it was nice. It's just, it's been a mad 7 years or whatever, I suppose.
The other thing you said was how the last time I don't know, was it the last time you played a gig, but certainly you alluded to November 2015.
Yeah, well, last time I played a full show, yeah.
So where was that, and what did it look like, and how did it contrast with?
Yeah, the last One Direction show in Sheffield. I'm not sure if it was October or November.
Well,
November, somewhere around there, yeah. And yeah, that was the last time I'd been on stage and done a full show. And obviously that last night was the first time I'd done a full show on my own. Usually I sing like a verse here and there, join in with the chorus. You have kind of time to look around and stuff like that. It was the first time I'd done a show like that ever. Even the chats and all that, I was like rambling on. Like, what? I just looked at the sheet and it said chat, and just talk in there. And I was just like, well,
I chatted with Shane Filan last week as well, and was kind of asking him a similar sort of thing, like how easy is it to end up being the person upon whom the whole thing requires, you don't get that chance to step back and sort of take a little look around and let someone else carry the can for a little bit and then step back in and blah, blah, blah. And, he said it was an adjustment too. I asked him, had he ever met you? And he said, along the way, I said, did you ever give him any advice? Seeing as there's some similarities to the situation, whatever. He said no. But he said he loves the song, big fan, kids love it.
Love Shane,
more power to you, essentially, is
Thanks very much, Shane.
What he was saying. But again, just in terms of the contrast to that last show, I mean, I'd imagine you kind of knew that this was going to be your last show back in November 2015, at least for a period.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
The on hiatus remains
Yeah.
in the air with 1D. Did you have a clear plan at that point as to what you wanted to do?
No
No,
idea.
just take a break and think it up?
Yeah, we finished that show and then we did a promo up till Christmas, and the X Factor was the last thing we did, and I'd planned on going travelling around Asia, and after that there was nothing I'd planned. So I went travelling for 7 or 8 weeks from January to kind of end of January up to March, and then when I came back to London I was just kind of sitting around and didn't really want to do anything at the time. I'd spent a lot.
Bit burnt out.
I had kind of spent a lot of time doing stuff, and then I'm just a fidgety person in general and wanted to get out and I just went back into the studio to write, and not particularly for anything at the time, just write natural songs that could be given to anyone, And then about 2 or 3 in, I was like, ooh. I wrote This Town on the first day, so I felt like I got off to an all right start, and my next single I wrote the second day, so it was I felt like I was onto something, and then I played some to my managers, and they were just like, hold on, we need to do something here. Fair enough.
We're not handing these over to someone else.
No, yeah.
For you. Well, look, seeing as it's the Flicker Sessions sold-out tour, brings you up to the end of November, 4 or 5 continents, New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Mexico, Rio, Sydney, Japan.
That's all within the next week.
Probably.
Got London,
you're
Sweden,
London tomorrow night, yeah.
London, Sweden, and Sydney all by next Tuesday.
And you did reveal on stage that the album is to be called Flicker, and it's the second single, Too Much to Ask, is very soon, this month, next September, and the album to follow shortly after, and a lot of strong songs. I think you're going to expand your fan base considerably.
Hopefully, yeah, that's the idea, yeah.
There's a lot there for people, I think, to enjoy. But tell me about Flicker, because it was a lovely song. In fact, just before it, there was a song just previous, On My Side, By My Side. Was that the one just before you sang Flicker last night?
You and Me?
Tell me about that song.
Yeah, that's probably the most poignant song for me in the album, and just the moment that stands out the most in the whole process. I was sitting at home. I actually wrote it at half-time during a Man United game or something. I was sitting at home watching TV, and the idea of it, I was playing around with it for weeks, the concept of it, and I couldn't really get anything, and I just started singing with the phone up my knee, started my foot up on the table and my phone on my knee, just singing into the phone, and had this voice note, and then wrote the verse and the chorus, and then went into the studio the next day and finished it off. But yeah, it was just the recording of it was the biggest part. As I said on stage last night, it was like there was a whole playing with the live band and them not really having to care about what they're playing, but really being heavily involved in it emotionally, and it really hit home how much this song can hit people, which was a nice feeling.
Well, I think what you suggested was the song that meant the most to you, and I don't think you want to give any sense of what the song means, because you, even at the end of it, offered it out to the audience to say that's there for you to
interpret yourself,
and take it on whatever way you wish. It was a lovely song. And the closer then as well, I presume, will be a single at some point. That sounded like
I don't know, it just went down well last night. Kind of none of these decisions are made, we kind of make them as we're going. But yeah, that's a really fun song. There's only one song to finish the set with, and it was On My Own. It's a good Irish jig, I suppose.
My time's running out with you. It's been a pleasure to chat to you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for talking to us on Cork's Red FM.
Thank you.
You've not been to Cork.
No, I probably did only.
You are welcome.
I'm sure I am, like everyone else is to Cork. I can't wait to go down. And hopefully someday I'll get to play that marquee. I would love to do it, but apparently you can only play it at certain months of the year, is it?
Well, yeah, like late May through June and early July. There is also Parky Kiev. Ed Sheeran sold out 3 nights.
Oh, really?
Presumably someone you've encountered along the way.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know if you'd ever want to be anyone's support, but I mean, it might be a nice bill there, Ed Sheeran.
No, absolutely no problem at all. Yeah, be glad.
But at the end of all of this, I guess you're blooding yourself through this whole kind of thing and seeing what's what. Might there be arenas at the end of that?
Kind of have to see how, well, next year I'll be doing some more dates, and I'll be announcing that probably soon. We're lining up a tour at the minute, and kind of that would be the idea of some sort, a kind of a mix of smaller and bigger venues, but I can't go out and say that I'm going to start selling out arenas, because I don't know.
But it might be a thing.
Could possibly be a thing.
I wish you the very best.
Thanks very much.
Denise Leahy, one of the parents of one of the girls that won a meet and greet with you yesterday, said Chloe said it was the best night of her life. So I think we might see if you could add to that by saying hello to Chloe Leahy for us.
Hi Chloe, Niall here. It was very nice to meet you. I hope you enjoyed the night. and hopefully I get to see you soon again.